one of the tendencies of being a highly sensitive person is to go into perfectionism. So perfectionism is something that can show up in any moment of life, and we tend to focus in certain areas where we're working on a task or a project or a bigger job. But I want to look for a moment at the quiet moments in daily life where perfectionism may show up and may go unnoticed. For example, you may find yourself micromanaging your to-do list. Like you feel like you can't rest until every item is crossed off, or even if you're exhausted, you may start pushing through because you think it's urgent, even though it isn't really urgent, or leaving something undone feels like it's a failure. This is a little bit of perfectionism, and it can drain your energy. Like I should get one more thing done before I can relax. That's a formula for never relaxing. Another way that perfectionism can creep in is when you're overthinking simple decisions, like choosing what to eat or how to respond to a text or which task to do first. These are small little decisions, but as a highly sensitive person, we think about things deeply. We tend to process deeply, and naturally, we can fall into looping on this and getting caught in making something big that doesn't have to be big. So overthinking small decisions can leave no energy left for the bigger decisions that may actually merit our energy more. And then another area that perfectionism can show up is when you start feeling shame over wasted time. There's like tiny little moments where you start beating yourself up for scrolling, say, or for sleeping late, or for taking some downtime, even though your body actually needed it. So there's just this little quiet belief that if you're not productive, then you're falling short. And this is a little bit of perfectionism creeping in. Like, I didn't use that time well. What's wrong with me? I didn't use that time perfectly. And then another little innocuous way that perfectionism can creep in is when you find yourself editing yourself in conversations, like replaying what you said and asking yourself, did I say too much? Was it not enough? Was I too intense? And this kind of hyper-awareness of how you're doing in a conversation can be a quiet form of perfectionism as well. Interestingly, all of these forms of perfectionism, or at least this one especially, is rooted in that fear of being misunderstood or being rejected. So why this goes unnoticed is because these don't look dramatic. They're just, I'm just being responsible, I'm just being thoughtful, I'm just trying to do my best. And for HSPs, being conscientious is a strength. But perfectionism is that same strength turned against you. It's like taken too far. And so it's good just to notice it. Now, the problem is once you notice perfectionism, if you start judging it, that makes it even worse. That actually goes down into a rabbit hole that becomes harder to get out of. And this is especially true for highly sensitive people because our noticing of perfectionism can quickly be followed by self-criticism about the perfectionism itself. It's like, oh, why am I like this? Why am I doing that again? Or I know I shouldn't care so much, but I do. And so there's like this extra dialogue, extra judgment happening that is now causing even more draining. The perfectionism itself can drain energy, but then the judgment about the perfectionism can drain it even more. And I would say it drains it even more strongly. It's like you're being perfectionistic about perfectionism. I know that sounds like me. So if you find that, then notice it. Like this is something that could be dragging you down. It actually can trigger your nervous system, and it's not actually helping so much. It can reinforce the shame loop, which again is not helping. We already carry shame, and if we think that we now are perfectionistic on top of it, and that's another thing that's wrong with me, then that just drags us further into the mud. And when we're judging ourselves for perfectionism, it also can distract us from the root need sitting underneath the perfectionism. Most perfectionism is rooted in something vulnerable. Maybe there's a desire to feel safe, or a need to be accepted, or a wish to avoid pain. And when you're judging yourself about being perfect or not being perfect, then you can't hear these needs. You can't respond to them, and you can't question them. Because sometimes the need is genuine, but it's rooted in something that is not actually, it's not actually healthy. Like, I may be attached to being safe, or I may be attached to being accepted, or I may be attached to avoiding pain. Of course I want to avoid pain. Of course I want to be accepted. Of course I want to feel safe. It's great when those things happen and they nourish us. But if I'm attached to them, then I become desperate, and then I become perfectionistic. And so if you're judging your perfectionism, you may end up missing what's really going on underneath, which is a cry for help. Maybe I'm stuck in an attachment that I just need to listen to and question and loosen a little bit. Or maybe there's just a genuine need for some safety or some acceptance, and I can go and find where I can get that easily and give that to myself. So when you meet that part of yourself with criticism, you miss the opportunity to care for yourself, care for the part of you that was craving something in the first place, or loosen the attachment so that it's not as craving. It's another approach. So let's think about how to meet perfectionism with kindness instead of shame. Perfectionism is something that happens to everyone. And what if we thought of it, instead of as a flaw, as a more of a form of protection? It's often something that develops when we're young and we're trying to survive in a world we can't control. And so we may try to kind of get some feeling of control by doing things really well. We care about how other people feel. We care about doing things right. We care about not being misunderstood or rejected or causing harm. And so it's coming from a good place, actually. It's coming from a caring place. The only problem is when attachment gets mixed in. As long as there's no attachment, why wouldn't I want to do the best possible job? Why wouldn't I want to communicate clearly and try to be understood by others? Why not? It's only if I get locked into needing that it becomes stressful, and then I kind of go overboard and I don't relax because I've got to really keep trying and I can't let my guard down. So what if perfectionism was just a kind of sign of something good that's going on that just maybe went a little too far? And the stress of it is, in a way, nothing more than an alarm clock saying, hey, check it out. Like, is there something you need here? Or is there something that you're getting too attached to and it's getting stressful for you? Check it out. And when you do, that perfectionism, that same quote unquote bad feeling of noticing you're in a perfectionistic tendency, could be something that is super helpful. It's like showing you the way. Oh, wow. Okay. I was caught in trying to please this person, and I need to look at whether I really need to please that person or not. Or I just have a need to be held right now. And so let me go find out how I can give that to myself.